It just continues to get better for the Detroit Red Wings. By now, you've seen Max Plante, Red Wings prospect at the University of Minnesota Duluth, and an absolute stud. This is a guy that's gone out there with some pretty plays and a ton of points. And in this video, we're going to dive into what he's been doing. We're also going to be taking our sights over onto what John Gibson is up to and how his season has been shaped up the past few weeks. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about some of the biggest Red Wings wins in the organization from the top down. Starting things out with Max Plante. Plante. Okay, I have to get used to saying that. He's not French. He's from Hermantown, Minnesota. Max Plante, 5'11", 176, a left-handed center, 19 years old, a Red Wings draftee back in 2024, 47th overall. Back in 2024, the Elite Prospects Draft Guide said that Plante is one of the most skilled passers in the entire draft, especially off the backhand. He feathers pucks through the tiniest of openings, defensive pressure only empowers him, he takes advantage of assertive defending by ripping a pass right through it, he deceives enough to open lanes, but also knows when to make the quick pass for the counterattack. Max Plante has had some nifty highlights and some even more beautiful plays, and it's resulted in him getting a ton of points. Which is why now, if we head over to the Detroit Red Wings subreddit, we'll find this post made by MKK4, how Max Plante, after a 6-point weekend, now has a slight gap at the top of the NCAA leaderboard. He has the most points at 36, and is now tied for the lead in goals, with 19 in the NCAA. Hashtag Max Plante for Hobie. You can see here right on the screen that Max Plante is first in NCAA points with 36. Cruz Lucius for ASU is at 32. He's second place. And then if you go over to goals, Max Plante is tied for number 1 with 19. Will Horkoff of MIC is over there in the tie. If we head over to Elite Prospects and we look at some of the same numbers, we will see that the production is the same. 36 points in 22 games for Max Plante. And in the NCAA, he is the number 1 guy in points by quite a long shot. It's unfortunate because Max's brother Zam Plante is now down here at 12th overall, although he is in a tie for what is technically 9th. Zam Plante was also one of the top point scorers earlier in the season, but now that Max has an 8-point lead over him, he's also taken that lead to ascend to the top of the NCAA rankings in totality. He is, above and beyond, the most productive player in college this season. Even if you sort by just raw points per game, Max Plante is still out there at number 1. Head over to goals, and there is nobody that has more goals than Max Plante in the college scene, and a lot of comments on the subreddit are going out there and singing their praises. 19 goals and 17 assists is kind of nuts in the NCAA right now. With Bear, Genborg, and Plante still yet to touch the AHL, it's shocking the cupboards still haven't been cleared out yet with how many young guys the Red Wings have on the time now. Time should say team, I think. Notable mentions are Buchelnikov, Johansson, Kiskinen, Solomon, Svirchek, and Cleveland. The Red Wings may just be a wagon for a while here. And prospect depth certainly is a strength for Detroit at the moment. All those years of the Red Wings being listed as a team with some of the best prospects, only to see 3 of them make the team at the beginning of this season, and having all these other guys scattered around different leagues still leading their leagues in points. It is quite refreshing. Another comment goes out here and says, where would he be drafted if this kind of output was expected? First in the NCAA in goals and points is kinda nuts. He probably would have been around top 15 or top 10, if not top 5. The thing is, it's just a hypothetical as he isn't 18. He's gonna be sick though, especially after we lose Kane or Kane slots down. Max Plante might come in and play extremely well in that second line right wing, left wing spot. You could also look at it the other way around. Cole Yzerman is doing worse in the NCAA now, and he got picked in the same draft at 20th overall. Yeah, that is absolutely the case. You can very where your expectations lie based on where the players are at right now versus what the players were doing back in their draft-eligible years. Max Plante was fine in the NTDP. He was over a point per game. But generally speaking, unless you're absolutely dominating that program, you're not really going to be a top-round pick, like a Jack Hughes or a Caulfield or a Zegras. Max Plante was just good. But now, the Red Wings have all the benefits because they took this guy and he is a workhorse on his production. Now, with that said, I wanted to also talk about players on the current Red Wings team. Not just guys that are chilling in the prospect pool, but guys that actually have tangible value as to what they're bringing to Motown right now. John Gibson, my friends, is at a pretty interesting spot on the year. Because, as TUN Binary went out there and said on Reddit, for the first time all season, John Gibson's save percentage is above 900. Gibson, through his first 13 starts, was 4-7-1, with an .865 save percentage and a .360 goals against average. Gibson, in his last 13 starts, is 11-2, with a .927 and a .217 goals against average. My goodness! Gibby has been playing Vezina-caliber hockey since December for the Red Wings, and his overall stats are finally starting to reflect it. Nature is healing. Now, I am going to agree with that, my friends. John Gibson, in the past 5 games, is at a .950 save percentage. In the last 10 games, he is at a .933 save percentage. In totality on the year, he is already at a .902, and this is after the absolutely dog water start that he had to open up the year. 615 save percentage, 871, 862, 789, 815, 808, 815. Somebody get Kanye in here with all these 808s. John Gibson started out the year terribly, and he, along with Cam Talbot not making a lot of the saves that the Wings kind of needed to get their results, already put a sour taste in a lot of Wings fans' mouths when it came to evaluating this guy. But now we are starting to see a lot of highlight reel saves. He is getting consistent results. He had the shutout the other day against the Montreal Canadiens. Gibson has been on fire, and this is the John Gibson that we saw with the Anaheim Ducks that was a workhorse and an absolute stud over there. I mean, now you think about it, he was at a .912 save percentage last year. That was a really good year for Gibson, but the problem was he was injured for most of it. And now this season, he has finally eclipsed the 900 mark after a .958 save percentage game against Vancouver, a shutout against Montreal, followed up by a .919, a .931, and a .958. Some stinkers in there still, but they were still wins. At least half of them were. But John Gibson, starting to get shutout after shutout now. This guy is absolutely on top of the world. He's one of the hottest goaltenders in the NHL right now. And I wanted to give him some love here on the YouTube channel. So with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Max Plante of the University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs? I believe that's what they're called. Is that correct? Bulldogs? Yeah, they're the Bulldogs. And what are your thoughts on John Gibson for the Detroit Red Wings? 2 great stories for guys that have found their game this season. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on. And bye.